Good morning. This is English 7 for Monday the 13th. I hope you had a good weekend. I hope you listened to Pastor Brother Gomez over the weekend. I hope you enjoyed their message and enjoyed the Easter program. And if you didn't catch it in the morning, I hope you watched it at 3 yesterday. I'm not sure about the Spanish one. It wouldn't have done Mrs. Turner any good to watch that one, but I'm really glad that we all have the opportunity to watch great things and testimonies and music that helps uplift the Lord as our Savior. And I hope you watched it. I hope you've been a good testimony and a good example in your home. Now, we are going to start a brand new chapter today, and it's probably for you guys going to be the easiest chapter of the year if you did what Mrs. Turner said about week 3 of the school year. I told you that we needed to memorize our prepositions. Most of you did that. About 3 of you did not. And you've struggled this year because you didn't believe me that you would have to know those all year long. Well, this is going to be your chance to get caught up, to memorize them, to have them nailed down, and not have to struggle after this. Look in your grammar book to page 187. 187. We're starting a brand new unit, Unit 10, and it's going to be about those last parts of speech. And remember, we've talked about nouns. Noun is a part of speech. Noun, it's like Mrs. Turner, I'm a person, but I also have jobs. What does Mrs. Turner do? I'm a teacher. I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a Sunday school teacher. I'm a junior church worker. There's a lot of different things that I do, but I'm only one person. A noun is like that. What are the jobs of a noun? Well, our noun can be a subject. That's the who or the what our sentence is about. Then a noun can be a direct object. So that is like if I say Venus ate the cupcake. Cupcake is a noun. It's a thing, right? But cupcake is also our direct object. It received the action of being eaten. I hope it was a good cupcake, all right? Then you have the indirect object. An indirect object's also a noun. It has to be a person, place, thing, or idea. And it's the to whom or for whom the direct object was done. For example, if I say, Emmanuel kicked Abel the ball. Emmanuel kicked what? He kicked ball. So ball is the direct object. But Emmanuel kicked the ball to whom? To Abel. Abel received that direct object. He's the indirect object. It's also a noun. Okay? What else can a noun do? Well, a noun can be the object of a preposition. Okay? Objects of the preposition show a relationship between two things. And the easiest way I told you is what can a fox do to a box? Well, he might be on the box, in the box, above the box, under the box, on the box, okay? He might go into the box. It shows a relationship between the fox and the box, okay? Now, if that's the object of a preposition, what else can a noun be? A noun can be an appositive. An appositive. An appositive clarifies. If I say Mrs. Turner, the City Baptist teacher, is a worker in Junior C, okay? I clarified which Mrs. Turner we're talking about. Several years ago, my husband and I were at his family's house for Christmas, and my sister-in-laws were there. Well, we're all married to a Turner boy. All of us are Mrs. Turners. All of us. So how do you distinguish it? Well, we were there for Christmas, and so my mother-in-law had wrapped our presents, and it had said, there were actually 2 of the boys. Neil, my husband's oldest brother, and my husband are both married to ladies named Sandy. So our Christmas present said Jack's Sandy and Neil's Sandy. Why? Because she had to clarify which girl the present was for. We don't like necessarily the same things. And so she had bought those gifts with someone in mind. That would be an appositive, okay? It's something that clarifies, okay? These are the jobs of a noun. Then we talked about, there are verbs. Verbs, I left one out, by the way. I left out predicate nominatives. The difference between a predicate nominative and a direct object. Predicate nominatives come after a linking verb. Direct objects come after an action verb. Then we talked about verbs. Verbs is the next part of speech. A verb is a word of action, or it is a state of being, okay? Every sentence must have a verb, or it's not a sentence, okay? Then we talked about pronouns. Pronouns. You guys don't like pronouns. You guys thought the pronouns were hard. No, pronouns are not hard. You just have to think a little bit, okay? Pronouns are words that take the place of a noun, okay? For example, I don't want to say, Daisy is in the 7th grade. Daisy has a blue folder. Daisy is wearing a pink coat. Daisy is at home today. That gets really redundant saying Daisy, Daisy, Daisy. Okay, so we're going to say Daisy is in the 7th grade. She has a blue notebook and she is wearing a pink coat. Daisy's at home. Now, I wouldn't want to use a she every time either. I'd want to mix them up. But pronouns take the place of a noun. We had personal pronouns. I, you, he, she, it, we, they, him, her, us, them. We also talked about indefinite pronouns. We memorized our singular indefinite pronouns, our plural indefinite pronouns. Pronouns take the place. Those are things like each, some, okay, any. Those are our indefinite pronouns. The next thing we talked about were adjectives. Adjectives. And what do adjectives do? Adjectives describe. Remember, they're the ones we draw all the arrows for. They describe nouns. Or an adjective can describe a pronoun. What kind of coat? Okay, my questions for an adjective are which one, what kind, how much, how many, or whose. If it does not answer one of those 5 questions, it is not an adjective. Adjectives usually come right before the word they describe. We don't say, in English, by the way, that is a true statement, because in Spanish it's different. In English, we don't say, Mrs. Turner's scarf pink. Now, in Spanish, you would say Mrs. Turner's scarf of pink, but in English, we would put the adjective in front and would say Mrs. Turner's pink scarf. Okay? Those are adjectives. Then we talked about what? We talked about adverbs. Adverbs. That's what we just finished up talking about. Adverbs. Adverbs describe, most of the time, a verb. It describes the verb. It can also describe an adjective and sometimes even another adverb. What are the questions that an adverb answers? An adverb tells us where, when, how often, to what extent, under what condition, or why. Okay, there are 7 questions that an adverb or adverb phrase or adverb clause will answer. It'll have to answer one of those. Okay, where, when, how often, to what extent, under what condition, or why. Now, these are the 5 parts of speech that we have talked about. Back at the very beginning of the year, Mrs. Turner took one part of speech completely out of order. I did that on purpose, and that is the part of speech called a preposition. A preposition. Okay, I'm gonna write it over here. The prepositions, okay? Prepositions show relationships. We've already talked about that for just a minute. In order to have a prepositional phrase, it must always, I love those rules when they don't have exceptions. Prepositional phrases begin with a preposition and they end with an object. In other words, if it ends with an object, it has to end with a noun or a pronoun. has to end with a noun, a person, place, thing, or idea, or it has to end with a pronoun which takes the place of the noun, like he or she or me or them, okay? Now, and of course we know that if it's a object of a preposition, it's going to be in the objective. So it's going to be me, him, her, us, them. Those are the objective case pronouns that can be the object of a prepositional phrase. Now, I want you to think with me last chapter, or actually the last 2 chapters, we've been talking about prepositional phrases that work together as one thing to tell us about something else, okay? I might say, the coat on the table. On the table describes what? Which coat am I talking about? The coat on the table. So on the table is a prepositional phrase that describes coat. It answers which one. So on the table tells me which coat. It tells me that it is an adjective phrase, okay? Some prepositional phrases are adverb phrases. Some are adjectives. You have to look and see what they're talking about. What question does it answer? Look at page 187. I know most of you know these. Pacify me. Make me a happy teacher and say them anyway. Okay, let's look at our prepositional box. Ready? Aboard, about, above, across, after, against, along, amid, among, around, at, before, behind, below, beneath, beside, between, beyond, but, by, down, during, except, for, from, in, inside, into, like, near, of, off, on, over, past, since, through, throughout, to, toward, under, underneath, until, unto, up, upon, with, within, without. Now, those are your prepositions. If you will have someone record you saying your prepositions and you don't miss any and you don't use your book, you have, let's see, today is Monday. If you can send me a video of you saying them to someone that's checking, because I'm going to check, someone record you saying all of your prepositions. I will give you until Friday. Okay, I'm going to write that down. On Friday, I'm going to take the names for a prepositional drawing. Okay? You say, what's that, Mrs. Turner? Well, everybody who sends me a video of them saying their prepositions without their book from memory, you say it, I'm going to put your name in a drawing, and I'm going to send you an e-card. Okay? I'm going to send you a card, and I'll let you choose which kind you want. Okay? Now, a prepositional phrase has to start with a preposition. It has to end with an object. The object can be one thing or it can be compound. I want you to look at page 188. It says circle all your prepositions. Count your compound prepositions as one, okay? See if you can find all 24 of them, okay? I want you to do exercise A. Exercise A in your book today. When it is finished, go online to our online quiz and take your little quiz about prepositions today. All right? Don't forget, I have to have your text with you saying your prepositions before Friday. Okay? I want to draw on Friday. All right?